Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
It's that time of the year again as college basketball takes center stage with the tournament finally upon us. It's March Madness, people. Let's go! If you're looking to wager this year, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all your updated odds and info, along with great contests, including the bracket contest where you have a chance to take home the top prize. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, to get started. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash. I'm here with our host, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow, and my brother, giant 76ers fanatic Teja Dash. How you guys doing? How are your brackets doing? Is everyone's Final Four still up and running?
Doing good. I lost Kentucky. Michigan State.
Okay.
Michigan State in one of my brackets, but otherwise, my teams are still going. I'm either first or second in the two brackets that I do, so I'm okay.
That's pretty good.
You're MSU in the heart bracket, right?
Yes, I'm second in that bracket. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm first in the one where I didn't choose Michigan State.
I'm far down, but I think there's always a non-championship team that you go as far as they go. That for me this year is Houston. If Houston goes really far, then I'll be in good shape. I don't have them winning it, but I have them in the championship in two of my brackets.
Okay. Good call.
Yeah,
Good team.
Yeah, they look great.
Eric, before we get to the 76ers talk, just something I've seen, like watching the college games and then just seeing people on Twitter kind of exploding about it. It's like, what have you thought about the officiating so far during the tournament?
Well, I mean, officiating is always an issue, especially when you're playing or you're emotional. But I think from what I've seen is the inconsistency, not from the inconsistency of being good and bad. It's just the inconsistency of the calls that they make. I mean, you may watch one game and it's like tons of charges. You watch another game and then it's tons of blocks.
Yeah.
And all the plays seem to look very similar. So I know the block charge call is a difficult one, but I'm just saying, like, I think they probably need a more uniform referee process. I know they got different referees in different conferences, but I think they need some form of a more uniform national referee, referendum in college basketball, because I think the different conferences ref different, and it's showing. It probably more so this year than any other year.
Yeah, I've seen so many games end in free throws, and I'm like, man, I don't want to see back and forth free throws for the last 10 seconds of this game. It's just like, come on, end it on the floor, man. It's brutal.
Yeah, the big one's the TCU Arizona ending where the guy crossed half court, and they said that was clearly a foul because there was a couple plays before that during the game where they called like a ticky-tacky foul like that, but they let that play go.
It was a foul, and if it wasn't a foul, then it was over and back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should have been a dead ball. But it was a foul before he fell. Like before he turned around, that's what a foul was.
Mm. Now, Eric, last question on March Madness. When you played, do you remember? I guess your senior year. Because
that long ago. You asked me, do I remember?
no. I guess it's more about the feelings of it, because we see everyone picks their teams and everyone roots for teams, and then at the end of games you see a lot of these seniors and guys who are going to the draft. You see them balling and tearing up after the games and stuff. And it's tough to see. It's kind of sad because it's like some of these guys never play college again, never play ball again competitively, and some guys are going on to the next level. Do you remember the feeling, the emotions when you played your final game in college?
Oh yeah, that was tough. That was one of the toughest periods I had in sports. Is to know when it's over. And a lot of times it's not that, you're kind of prepared for it to be over, but you never really think it's going to be over without a championship until that happens. Mm-hmm. And in my case, we were upset in the first round. So, that was totally unexpected.
Oh.
So for that to happen, So it was just like a shock. Like you was in shock. Like I didn't watch basketball. I didn't even watch any basketball until I Bleav the Final Four. I might have watched the last game.
Man.
When UCLA won it. That might have been the only game I watched for the rest of the thing. I couldn't even watch it. Like I was sick to my stomach.
It's terrible.
So it's tough. So I know what those guys are going through. Even guys that are locks to go pro in the first round, like it's still tough. Like it's an emotional game, and you have a connection with your teammates. Like even when you're going on, and so a lot of these guys, you're going on to make money and quote unquote have a better life, but they're still young kids that have friends, man. It's emotional, so it's tough, man. College was still the best time of my life. I used to always tell people I wish I had NBA money and a college lifestyle.
Yeah, the best of both worlds, huh?
Yeah.
The college invincibility with the NBA money.
Exactly.
That's great.
All right, so now we're going to go into the 76ers stuff. So obviously last night I saw that Embiid and Harden were out. We were an 8-point favorite. We're 8-point underdog. I thought we were going to lose. I mean, without Embiid and Harden, we've talked on the show already about the lack of kind of bench production. So last night kind of gave the floor for a lot of these guys to come alive from the bench. And Miami was at full strength as far as their starting lineup went. I know they were out Gabe Vincent and I forgot there was somebody else they were out with last night. But Thibault, starting lineup with Thibault, Tobias, Niang, and Millsap, and Maxey, of course. Those guys dominated. Maxey had one of his games of his life last night, and the bench contributed. What do you make of last night's 113-106 victory against the Heat, Eric?
I think guys just came out and competed. That's what it was about. Of course, most people see the top two players are out. All of a sudden, you think they're going to lose, but those guys now all of a sudden you're motivated. You're going to play. So they came out and they played hard and they competed and they gave themselves a chance to win the basketball game. And that's what happened. At the end of the game, anything can happen and guys are still pros that can make plays and they did their job.
Yeah, Teja, what did you notice from that last night?
Well, it's funny that, we played them a couple of weeks ago, right? And they beat us by 17. They were missing Lowry and we were missing Harden and they walloped us. They just killed us. And then this game, we're missing both of them and they're missing nobody and we win. So it just shows you like it's game to game, right? It's like any given night. But I love seeing the bench come alive. I love Shake and Court going off last night. That was really nice because we talked about them last week about needing to step up. Tobias Harris with Embiid and Harden out still wasn't a top 3 scorer, wasn't even a top 4 scorer for our team. Maybe that's because he deferred to Cork and Shake and Niang because they were hitting shots. I don't know, but he had 14 points and our 5th highest scorer. In the last 13 games since Harden came over, Toby's only scored more than 16 twice, and he's had more single-digit games than 20-point games, which is extremely alarming. We've talked about Toby many times. And his rebounding's gone down, which I noticed too. So from the beginning of the season to now, month by month, he averaged 9, 8, 7, 7, 6.4, and then this month he's averaging like 5.8, so under 6 a game. That's a little concerning too because we're getting killed on the boards. Not that Tobias is Dennis Rodman by any means, but I'd like him to be closer to his career average or at least last couple season average. But overall, very satisfying game to watch. It was really fun because Miami Twitter was kicking the shit out of us all day, saying how they're going to dominate us and all the baby pictures and stuff. So it was nice to see them come out and really, really compete and put it on them like that. Every single time you thought Miami was going to take over, we hit big shots, like boom, back to back, guys came up, man. It's pretty cool to watch.
That's good.
Yeah, Eric, what do you make of Tobias's rebounding numbers going down?
I think some of it is, since James has been there, the role change. I think doing more spotting up will pull you away a little more offensively. As far as defensive rebound, I think it's just got to be a concerted effort on his part to go in there and make it happen. It could be the person you're defending. I mean, if you're defending more guys that are standing behind the 3-point line, that could pull you away versus guys that penetrate or crash the boards. I think it just got to be, an effort. I mean, I don't think that a numbers thing is as far as he's not trying or not going after them, but I think offensively, I think is probably where he could, probably be least effective because of the fact that he's spending more time posting up. But defensively, I think that he is, along with other guys on the team, have to make a better collective effort to rebound more because other teams have been, affecting us in a huge way. So I think that's going to have to be an effort, something Tobias is going to have to step up and get better, as well as his teammates.
It's also probably because we had Curry, who probably averaged like 3 rebounds a game, and you go to that from that to Harden, who averages like 7 or 8. So you have another guy in there kind of yanking those rebounds away from Tobias and not letting him have those numbers, right? I also wanted to ask you too. I heard Tim Legler today, really heavily criticizing Harden for not showing up yesterday, not playing against Miami twice, and how we need to learn to play against the Eastern Conference top teams, and we're ruining the fan experience. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, that's Tim's personal experience, personal, preference. I think we spoke about guys, missing games, but is it their call? Is it the team's call? If a team say we suggest it, are you to blow it off? Like that's what I just don't understand about how they make their choices of who's going to play and who's not going to play. Because if you say if it's a back-to-back, then play the Miami game and maybe not the game before. So it's just hard to say because you don't know the rhyme or reason of how they choose when guys are going to set out. But if they're not having a injury that's keeping them out, this just seems to be something that you're like, hey, you're not going to play back-to-back, so you're not going to play this game. Like I just don't know. I kind of understand where Tim is coming from as far as knowing teams. But I think that, in most cases, they've played enough basketball. And I think right now the Sixers got to get ready and know each other. And we got to do to get better. Knowing Miami, we could not face Miami. We could, maybe not. But we got to get better as a team. We got to get, down this stretch run and making sure that we're playing our best basketball going into the playoffs.
So we talked about this last time of how the starters play a lot. Like we play a lot of minutes, right? The bench doesn't really see it. Whereas this game, it was like the complete opposite, right? The bench played most of like half, if not most of the game. I guess my question is, would you rather start reducing their minutes every game and let the bench play more each game? Or would you rather just sit Embiid and Harden and just let the bench go buck wild in the game? Like what would you rather see going forward?
I would rather see us try to get the number 1 seed and try to win the game. That's where I'm at. So I think you got to try to win the number 1 seed. And then maybe if it gets down to the last 2 or 3 and you see that's not the case, then maybe you can start pulling people back when your seed is kind of solidified. But until that point, I think you got to try to go get the number 1 seed. And that plan, yes, I don't think that we need to go to a playoff rotation where you're playing a hard 8 guys. I think you can accomplish that still playing, 9 and in most cases 10 players.
Question about the so last night when they rolled out the starting 5, I was kind of surprised that we saw Paul Millsap playing 5. We haven't seen him in like 6 games. He's been on the bench, but he hasn't been playing. But he got the start at the 5 instead of DeAndre Jordan. What do you think that was? You think that was just trying to throw a different, like more of an athletic 5 at Bam Adebayo, or is that just more they just want to see what Millsap's got?
I think if Joel was only going to miss a game and it's not going to be a prolonged absence, I think that you probably want to keep DeAndre in his same role. So you instead of bumping him up and then bumping Millsap to the reserve, you just keep DeAndre in his same role. Put Millsap in that position that's only really a spot position, and then you just go from there. And then that way you can keep the balance and the minutes as far as DeAndre the same based on need and how the game is going.
They did that with Howard too, I think a lot too. Whenever it was a 1 or 2 game thing, they just kept Howard, where he was on the bench and then brought someone else to start for a game.
They used Tony Bradley in that position.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right. Okay. So more about the bench. So we saw extended minutes, bench minutes last night. So I guess the question is for you guys, outside of Niang, who do you think has secured playoff minutes, and who do you think kind of improved their chances of being a part of that playoff rotation after last night's game?
I don't think anyone solidified it. I just think that guys performed and did their job. I still think that Doc will go in with a firm or hard 8 players, and that 9 and 10 are going to be situational players that have to be ready to contribute if their name is called. It was good to see Ferk and Shake come in and play well and make shots, because as the series goes on, you plan a team, over and over again, you will need those guys to come in and give us a burst and make some shots like that. That will be needed. So it was good to see them come and make that happen when they knew the minutes were coming. But in the playoffs, it's going to be the inconsistency of when guys are playing and staying, in their minutes are going, how consistent their minutes are going to be. Most reserves, it's hard to know when you're going to play, especially in the playoffs. That's, that your minutes decrease more than anything. So I think it's hard to say it's going to be one particular player over another. I just think that, it could be Ferk one day. It could be, Shake another. But I do think that those guys have done enough this season and proved it versus Miami that they're capable and ready when they get the chance.
Yeah, Teja, what stood out to you? I know for weeks you've been saying, Ferk's going to come out of this. So I would say for months, really.
I've been hoping for that. Yeah, it looked good. I mean, it's just a tale of two Ferks, I guess, because, outside of Niang, our bench had 46 last night in general. So that was the most we've had in so long. And the previous 3 games, we had a total of 50. So that just puts into perspective how different it was last night. If you take Niang's points away in our past 5 games, we've had a total of 30 points, which is 6 points a game. So compare that to the 46 we had, just night and day. Ferk looked great, but he's been bad. There's a reason why he was in the doghouse. I was looking back at his stats, and he's only had 5 games with 2 or more threes since January 14th. And in 59 games total he's played, he's been 0 for in 20 of them from 3. And he takes 4 games. So that puts into perspective that 1 out of every 3 games, he doesn't make a 3 out of 4 attempts. And that's rough. In the year, he's shooting 29%, which is, unfortunately, it's Westbrookville. So I hopefully he just pulls out of it. And ironically, we're playing them. So it's nice to see him bust out of it. Same with Shake. I mean, that's his second double-digit scoring game since he came back from injury in early February. So he's starting to find his groove too. But again, like we talked about like Eric said last week about Tobias, they need touches. So Ferk had 1 minute the other night. So you can't get 1 minute and expect to do anything with that, right? Like he just gets a sweat and then he leaves. So yeah, it's really nice to see them all doing that. We are going to need a primary ball handler off the bench in the playoffs. If I had to make a pick, I'd say obviously Niang solidified. I'd say Danny Green for the kind of the middle between Thybulle's defense and almost not what Curry gave us shooting, but he can give you 2 threes a game and some defense. I'd say Shake is the ball handling. And then lastly, I'd say it's a toss-up between Millsap and DeAndre, depending on who you're playing. If it's a bigger center, I'd say put DeAndre in. If it's more of like a Bam, like a 6'9", 6'10" small ball type guy, I think Millsap did a pretty good job against him last night. I mean, you're not going to stop him, but, for Millsap.
I consider Danny to be one of the part of the par 8.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think they're solidified. After that, it kind of gets a little shaky. You're going to have to play the streaks. And if Ferk's looking good, let him get it out, man. Like last night, I'm sure Doc was like, this is a Ferk night. Just go, just play. Which is why probably Tobias was like, you know what? You guys are nailing all your shots. Go ahead. I mean, like, just I'll take it off. This will be my rest day because Tobias doesn't really rest a lot.
About winning the game.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, if we lost and Tobias only had 14 points, you'd be like, what the hell is going on? But, all is well when you win. So it all looks good.
Well, I mean, the flow of the game would have dictated that. If they needed more from him, and he didn't do it, then the situation, then that would call for it. But if other guys are going and you're losing kind of in the manner where you kind of give it away in the end, then, yeah, I can see it. But
Especially with Maxey. Man, Maxey looks like a guy you might have the ball, very well have the ball at the end of the games from now on. I'm not.
I spoke about that before when I was like, you got to get someone else to be a primary ball handler and not James every single time. I think that we got to, if Maxey gets a rebound, then he should be able to push, and James has to run. I mean, the one thing I've seen in my experiences, and I was just as guilty of it, is when primary ball handlers don't have the ball, they're not very good at running the court.
Yeah,
I think James, sometimes you get up the court, and I think about Allen Iverson when I played with him. Some of his best plays were in transition because he got up the court and he would push the ball and attack before the defense is set. So that's what, if you think about Maxey and how he's gotten a lot of his points, he's like up the court.
Yeah, he's running.
So I think if you can get James and Joe and those guys running up the court, getting set and attacking before that defense is set, that's another way as far as Tobias could get some touches. If he gets up there and get an early post and you throw it before the defense is set, it's just different ways to attack. But that takes effort. You got to run. You got to get up the court.
Yep. I was actually looking at Doc's playoff minutes last year. It looked like he has 3 guys off the bench. His first 3 off the bench play in the 15 to 20 range. And then like 2 guys play in like the 10 to 15 range. So yeah, I think the hard A, it's where you want to go with that. I think you're looking at Danny right now, Niang, Danny, and probably Shake, I'd say, just because he can ball hand off the bench, and we don't really have that besides him.
Yeah, I mean, it's 8-9 because DeAndre Jordan could be a part of that, but you just don't know.
Play all the time.
The 8-9 guy could be a flip flop based on who you're playing.
Yep.
I gotta say though, since Harden's come on, it's talking about, there's been so much off the court stuff saying, oh, he's not a good leader, he's not good. I mean, based on the way Maxey's been playing since Harden's come over, whether he was on the court or not, I feel like a lot of Harden's influence is kind of like showing for Maxey on the court. I mean, last night that step back 3 he had in the right shoulder, I mean, that looked like a James Harden move, and like he wasn't pulling the trigger like that before. I mean, he was pulling the trigger, but like, I guess not with this kind of confidence. It doesn't seem like he was as confident now. I mean, that he is now from the beginning of the season. Have you kind of noticed that, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, his confidence. I think his confidence was high. I think now, he's put that. Experience is the best teacher. So he gets that confidence, and now all of a sudden you got that experience to go out and play. But I think guys have accepted him, and he's taken the challenge to come out and compete and get better. But that experience, like I said, that's the best teacher, man. You're going through different situations and you're feeling good. So I think that he's done that. He stayed aggressive and he's playing well. You just got to give him credit. I think that he's adapted to other guys being there, especially James being there, but he's still in attack mode and he's still trying to compete and he's playing hard and it's showing because he's competing on both ends of the court.
I think Maxey and Niang have probably been the biggest benefits of Harden being there. I think Embiid's just been dominant all year. I don't think nothing's changed that much for him. I think Embiid's shots have come a lot easier for him, but he's just been dominant in general. But I think Maxey and Niang, their games have just gone up a whole other level.
We got that green light now.
Oh yeah. All Niang needs that half second. He's just waiting just to shoot the ball. His hand's already in place. I love it. It's like me playing 2K back in the day.
Quick square.
Oh man.
All right. So final topic tonight. Obviously we're getting to the prediction segment. So Wednesday night on ESPN, we'll be traveling to LA to play the Los Angeles Lakers. Last time we played them at home, we won 105-87. What are your guys' game predictions, and what are you guys looking forward to seeing against LeBron and the Lakers on Wednesday night?
I think we'll win it. I mean, I think because being on the West Coast, I see the Lakers a lot. I just think that with Joel, they'll have to play big, and they really don't want to. So I think that he'll be able to dominate, and we'll be able to get some good looks and good shots. I mean, they're struggling defensively, so if he can get in the paint, dominate, and he can score, that'll shrink their defense, get us some good looks, and he'll be able to. And I think he and James will get to that free throw line. Obviously we got to figure out a way to contain LeBron.
Mhm.
I think if we can do that and try to make him take some, more shots outside the paint than in the paint, I think that we can get the job done. But we can definitely score on them and attack them, but we're going to have to get some stops. We're going to have to play well defensively, because right now they are playing well and putting some points up. It's just they've been struggling on the defensive end. We got to make sure we attack that.
Teja, thoughts?
I mean, if Harden isn't partying in Vegas or LA all night, then I think we'll have a much better shot at it. So, but he yells those West Coast road trips. Lakers are looking pretty rough. They're 4-6 in their last 10, but 7 of those have been on the road. So I'm sure they're happy as hell to get back home. 3 out of those 4 victories have been against playoff teams. So they do show up against bigger teams. They kind of just play down their competition also, but it's still LeBron. So you can't just take it easy in that game. And Westbrook's actually been shooting pretty well as of late. I do want to jinx him, so I'm not going to knock on wood. But I think in the last 3 games, shooting 50% out of 16 attempts from 3.
That's not why they losing, because of his shooting. I mean, he wasn't shooting great at the beginning of the year, and they were still had a winning record. So
that's true.
It's their defense, man. They haven't been defending and rebounding well, and we've got to make sure that, because that's what everybody has done. They've had success that way, so you got to make sure that you go and continue and attack them in that way, and then try to, you want to try to make Russ shoot threes and keep him out the paint and don't give up easy baskets. But the one way they can possibly hurt us is they are good in transition, especially at home. So we got to make sure that we contain that as well.
Yeah. I'm actually glad he's shooting well. It'll make him think he can just keep taking him and making him. So let him shoot 6-7 more tomorrow. I'll bank on him going back to his 25%. So. We just got to show up offensively, just keep putting them on defensively and put the pressure on them to have to score a lot of points. I do think we win, though. I don't know if the spread's been released, but
as of a couple hours ago, it had not been. I think they're waiting to see what happens.
Wait to see who plays.
Yep, exactly. Big game, though, as far as standings wise. After last night's win, we're now 2.5 games back from the 1 seed in the East. So, and I don't know where LA stands on their end on the West side. But
Boston's right on top of us now. Yeah,
well, everyone's kind of stacked on each other in that.
I think the Pelicans are right behind the Lakers too for that 9-10 home game.
Oh man.
Yeah, Boston's actually the favorite to win our division now.
Interesting. So they're probably taking into account that we're going to have some more rest days coming.
Yeah, I guess so.
Are we done with the Boston series? Do we have any more Boston games left, or is that it for our series?
I don't know. I don't think we play them again. I think we're done.
Okay.
I need to look up.
Yeah, but 2.5 games back from the 1 spot. So we're still going to need Miami to help from Miami's opponents for the next 13 or 14 games left. So it'll be interesting to see the race for the 1 seed in the East. And with a win like that last night, that kind of keeps us back in it. We lost that game Sunday night, and then winning that game last night with that Embiid and Harden was kind of like playing with house money there.
Huge. We do not play them again, by the way.
Okay. All right. Well, that does it for us, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Bleav in 76ers podcast presented by BetOnline. We'll see you guys Friday as we preview the Clippers game and talk about maybe some rumors regarding the guy we're playing tomorrow night, as some people have released over the last few days. Maybe in the summer, there might be a summer of LeBron to Philadelphia. We'll talk about that on Friday. But we'll see you guys on Friday. Take it easy, guys.
Take it easy.